Success isn't just about when you align your subconscious with positivity and persistence. You become a beacon of light and example of positivity, and I'm capable of doing this mentality for others.
Hey, champions, welcome to another wonderful training session that we do every single month with Napoleon Hill's Principles. I'm glad to be the host today. My name is William Blake, and it is brought to you by Champion Circle, professional organization that focuses on helping individuals, business owners, and entrepreneurs to be able to achieve their goals at accelerated results. I'm so excited at this wonderful time that we get to do these trainings because we bring on individual speakers to be able to talk about these principles. And I have the wonderful opportunity for myself, as well as Ian, Lauren, and John, to be able to give you guys the principle that we talk about in this month, the month of November, in Think and Grow Rich, of the subconscious mind. Very excited to hear about it. So today we are going to start off with Mr. Ian Stermer, who's going to be the first one to talk to us about Napoleon Hill's The Subconscious Mind Principle. Ian, handing it right over to you.
Thank you, William. So the subconscious mind, we hear about it so much. We talk about it a lot. So what is the subconscious mind? Not being a scientist myself or a neurosurgeon, there's an example I use to think about it, and that's breathing. Until I said the word breathing, you were probably breathing on your own, weren't thinking about it. You hadn't thought about breathing for minutes or hours or days, maybe. But as soon as I said the word breathing, you're suddenly aware of your breath and you're consciously making those breaths. But before that, your brain was just taking over and doing it all on its own with no conscious thought needed from you. Now I realize a breathing is more, autonomic response as opposed to real subconscious. But the idea there is that our subconscious mind is doing things for us. It's making us aware of what's going on. It's allowing us to live our lives. 90, 95, 99% of what we're doing is all in that subconscious mind, so that we don't have to think about breathing or our heart beating, or sometimes we don't have to think about whether a person is scary or a friend, because our subconscious mind is helping us understand all of those things. Now, I think that the subconscious mind starts out with what we call the lizard brain. Back in not prehistoric, but primordial times, our whole life was set up on survival. And our brain developed this fight or flight, and what do we need to do to gain food and shelter and protection from enemies. And that's really how our brain works. That was its conscious side, was entirely set up on survival. As we progressed and our brains grew bigger and we gained more technology and understanding, that part of our brain kind of moved to the subconscious and in the background. We didn't think as much about all of the fears and worries around us. The subconscious took over most of that, unless it was an overt threat or something that brought into the forefront. So in the back of our mind still is all of these fears and worries that stick with us. And there's something we don't really understand because we don't consciously think about them. And that's the whole purpose of subconscious. It's not in our conscious mind. But the truth is, our subconscious is something that we can begin to understand, and we can help that to work for us. Now, the subconscious mind can do really two things. It can hold us back because of all of the fears and worries and anxieties that are stuck in there. And it can move us forward because it can also give us that confidence, that understanding that we can do things, and it can give us the ability to move forward without worrying. And it all depends on how we train our mind. Now, one of the best ways I found to explain that, one of my favorite books by Robert F. Bennett, called Gaining Control. In this book, he talks about something called the belief window. And a belief window, he describes it as a piece of glass that's sitting in front of our eyes. And everything that we see is filtered through this belief window. So if we believe that I can't jump high enough, whenever we see something we need to jump over, our ability is filtered through that. Now, unfortunately, a lot of times we have prejudices and things in the world that we see that way. But it might be people who live in the city don't care about each other, or people who live in the country aren't very smart. Those are not true things. But those are the kind of things that we might see on that belief window. As we begin to understand what's actually written on it and take time to examine that window, we can start to see that some of the things we've written on that window simply are not true. And we need to erase those from that window. Those limiting factors. I'm not smart enough. I don't belong with those kind of people. I could never achieve that kind of success. I'm not someone who knows how to do this. I don't have the connections to do this. These limiting factors that are sitting in our subconscious are written on that window. As we begin to self-examine ourselves, work with others to unravel those subconscious ideas, we can begin to erase them from that window so that those no longer limit us. The second half of that is the positive affirmations we can put on there. We have the ability to teach ourselves these same things that we can write on that belief window ourselves. I am good enough to do this. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be successful. I'm smart enough, talented enough to achieve these things. And as we continually tell ourselves this, our subconscious is going to believe us. It's going to write those things on that window. And when we see challenges in front of us, if those are filtered through that belief window, it's going to help us to say, yeah, I can do that. To step forward with confidence rather than anxiety. The subconscious mind is such a powerful tool when we take control of it, when we erase those negative ideas from it, and when we replace those with a positive idea. Now, that's actually easier to do than it may sound once you take time. Now, the subconscious mind, another of my favorite books by Tom Big L. Ryder. And I remember reading this, and I apologize for forgetting which book this was in. But he talked about the subconscious mind is really, really, and he gives a great example of that. If you go watch a movie, when you're watching the movie, you know that it is particles of light hitting a screen that are creating an image on it. You know that it's actors on that screen who are saying something that was written down by an author in a script and they have memorized. You know that that entire thing is absolutely made up and is not based at all on reality. But when Old Yeller dies at the end, we all start crying, even though we know it's not real, because our subconscious mind is telling us that it's real. It sees that and it tells us that what we're seeing is the truth. Until we stop and say, that's not really the truth. That's not actually it. And we can take control of that, train our subconscious mind so that it will be telling us, I am good enough. I can succeed. I can take control of that. And we do that through, as you've looked at much of Think and Grow Rich and the earlier principles we discussed, the idea of belief and teaching ourselves that we do believe it, positive affirmations, all of these steps lead up to training our subconscious mind to be able to be a tool to move us towards success, so that it's a fuel behind us that we no longer have to think about because we begin to accept that success is coming to us. So I want to just close with that idea. You are good enough. You are smart enough. And if you continually tell yourself that, your subconscious is going to believe. And it's going to work to create that reality for you, that you will achieve the success that you are looking for. You will be able to think and grow rich, which is the whole point of this book and these training sessions, is to achieve what we want in life, to be happier, to be rich in whatever way is most important to you. So I'll close it off and turn the time back to Mr. Blake.
Thank you so much for that. And goodness gracious, doing these things do make us happier and do help us to get what we want. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much. Next, we're going to hear from Miss Lauren Cobb, who's going to be our second speaker, talking about this wonderful principle from Napoleon Hill, the subconscious mind. Lauren, the floor is yours.
So the subconscious mind is the 11th principle in Think and Grow Rich, and it is what shapes us as human beings. There's a lot of science that goes into learning and looking into our minds and our brains, and it's fascinating. But our subconscious mind goes a little step further than just looking at our brains. So by mastering our thoughts, we can change our lives. Have you ever had an interaction with someone and walked away just shaking your head, wondering what on earth just happened? Have you ever overheard somebody in public and you are wondering, are they off their rocker? Like, what are they thinking? I sure have. Or on the other end of the spectrum, have you sat in a room or listened to a podcast or been in the presence of somebody who you were just absolutely blown away by their knowledge, their way of looking at life, their outlook on hard subjects, that you were just blown away by? Most of these people, nearly all of them, have been able to overcome and have learned how to train their subconscious minds to better their lives. And this is what I want to hit upon today, the subconscious mind. So connecting the link between your thoughts and your subconscious mind is what will provide you with action and results. And as I said, it's the 11th step to riches in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. So if our thoughts shape our character, it's only logical that changing our thoughts will change our character too. By changing the nature of our thoughts, it helps those who are pessimistic. They can overcome those chemical reactions in their brain. Those with depression can overcome that. Those with just struggling, like I said, those people we hear who just aren't always positive, right? They just tend to always be able to find the problems in life. They can use this method in training their subconscious mind to overcome those things. It doesn't mean they'll be healed, right? I want a disclaimer. This won't necessarily heal everything, but it is, from my own personal experience, a way that I've been able to train and overcome those hard thoughts and patterns in our lives. So, as I said, this subject is near and dear to my heart because learning how to change and work with my subconscious mind literally changed my life. It changed my trajectory. I had been stuck in fight or flight mode for over 5 years. So I want to jump back to my life 10 years ago. I had a 3-year-old daughter and I was expecting our second. This pregnancy was different than my first. My first, I was sick the whole time. I wasn't loving life. I just thought that was normal pregnancy, but we made it through. Healthy baby. Life was good. So 3 years later, I was expecting my second baby, and this was completely different from the get-go. It was hard. I was instantly sick. I was stuck to the couch, throwing up in a bucket all day. I couldn't eat or drink unless it was frozen. I couldn't just even live my normal daily life. And honestly, taking a shower was hard most days. And so that's really when I feel like my life started changing, was that pregnancy. And it was hard. And my husband was in school full time, and it was me and my daughter home. And I was one of those people who was just like, I'm going to push through this and get over it. Like, I can do it myself. I don't need help. I've learned lessons. But that's one of my attributes, is that I want to be able to do things on my own. So I struggled through. My husband helped a lot. He'd come home on lunch. He would help our toddler. But for the most part, she fed herself from the fridge and ate snacks that were put out on a basket for her during the day. It was hard. So after that pregnancy, she came out healthy and happy, and I thought, great, life is going to get back to normal. A few weeks after, I was told I was struggling with the baby blues, as a lot of women do. And I was like, okay, well, they said if I eat right, if I exercise, get out of the house, like this will kick it. It'll be good. And unfortunately, it didn't. I was able to get back to a good quality of life, but they were always still there. I had a lot of anxiety. I had our second daughter was very, very skilled, I guess you could say. She was an early walker, a runner, and it gave me a lot of anxiety. And so those baby blues turned into anxiety, and which we had a surprise just over a year later that I was expecting again. And this was very hard as I just came out of baby blues. I was experiencing anxiety, and here I was pregnant again. And it was a surprise. My pregnancies I didn't always get pregnant easily due to other health problems. And so I was grateful, like it never just happened like that before. And I knew I was supposed to be grateful, but I was also just terrified. And once the sickness really set in, I became resentful, kind of. Why did I have to be pregnant? Why my life is not what it's supposed to be? That pregnancy, I got put on home health, and I was hooked up to my IV pole for 7 hours a day, most days, for months. And I wasn't able to care for my other two girls. Thankfully, I had a wonderful support system that came in and took care of those physical needs for me and my girls. And my husband was amazing, as he was just graduated college, and in his internship, he was there supporting us. And I had family that jumped in and did everything that he wasn't able to. So that pregnancy was super hard. And by my end of second trimester, I started realizing that I was not okay mentally. I was getting by physically. The baby and I were doing okay, but my mental state was not what it should be or what I had ever experienced. And it was hard. And I kept those thoughts to myself for a very long time because, once again, I should have been grateful. I was pregnant. I was alive. We were going to have a baby after that. And it's a blessing. And it is for sure. But struggling alone takes a toll on you, your mental load, everything. And so postpartum comes, and they say, with my other pregnancies, okay, just give it time, it'll get better. And it didn't. I kept being told, oh, give it 3 years, or wait, 1 year, your hormones start to adjust. Give it 3 years. You're on the road. At 3 years, I finally really put my foot down. I was like, I am not okay. I am struggling every day. I can't have a positive outlook on anything. My anxiety's through the roof. And all the doctors could tell me was, it's your hormones. Let's do some blood work. Let's do this. Let's put you on this medication. Things will get better. And so I went along with it. And once I hit 5 years postpartum, I really knew that I had to take it into my own hands because my life wasn't going to be what I wanted it if I didn't. I still very much am involved with my healthcare professionals, and those people. And I had to put my foot down again and say, something's not right here. And thankfully, my doctors listened, and we were able to dig into those issues and get my physical health up to par and on track to get better. However, my mental health was still struggling. No matter the depression medicine, the anxiety medicine, I just never felt normal or felt like I had hope. And my husband and I had dreams and goals, but I wasn't able to put those action steps in place because I just couldn't get out of this mental fog that I was in. So thankfully, my husband and I were like, hey, we're going to start our own business. Here we go. And I jumped into networking and found amazing people who opened up my life to these types of curriculums and books and being able to learn from scholars and people who have gone before. I will say that utilizing the positive thinking and my subconscious mind changed my whole life. I felt like I did when I was a kid again, having that hope, having those dreams and desires that I was able to go out and accomplish these big things. So, how did I do that? Honestly, the first book I picked up was Think and Grow Rich. And this was from one of the mentors at the networking group that I was going to, said, let's dive into this. So applying this as you go through and learn is the best way to see the results and really be able to make those changes. So not just reading it, but saying like, what am I going to do and how am I going to accomplish that? And then having those people in your life to check back with. So the subconscious mind is what comes when we are resting, right? What naturally is going to come out of our brains. That's why these people who have the pessimistic attributes and things, they're usually not feeding their brains these positive things in their life. They're not learning, they're not engaging themselves. And so these attributes that they've picked up or had oftentimes take over. And so, looking at my notes quick. So anyone who attempts to master their thoughts, you can do much more than eliminate the negative thoughts and character traits. By working on your thoughts the right way, you can obtain what some people call divine perfection. In other words, you're weeding out those bad thoughts and replacing them with joy, with strength, with words of encouragement. And you will see that your life will slowly start to change. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of what it can do. Changing your subconscious mind will help you overcome some of the biggest obstacles in your life. I thought I was stuck forever in this depression and health blah, that pregnancy just took a toll on my body in every way. And that's what it was. And I was grateful I have these children. And I was just, that's what it was. I get to be there for my kids and my body was gone downhill in my mind. But it doesn't have to be that. You are able to take the things that you learn and read in those positive ways and change your literal brain chemistry and your subconscious mind. So I started with small steps, reading the books and sitting down and writing out positive things, positive affirmations. What did I want to do? I wanted to wake up and smile. So I would work on that. I would take it small steps at a time and say, okay, today I am not going to think the world is ending. My kids aren't going to die. I'm not going to die. We're fine. We're safe here in our home. And I would have to tell myself that multiple times, right? Just little things by little things to train your mind that you, in fact, are in control of your thoughts and your actions. Unmanaged thoughts in your brain can be your biggest obstacle. You've got to, if you have those intrusive thoughts, check yourself. Like I said, I would wake up thinking, okay, something horrible is going to happen today. Nope. In fact, we are safe here in our home. I have control over what I am going to do today in my home. No, I can lock the door and we're happy and fine in this home and turn on some happy music and things like that. Little by little, I had to change my everyday. And soon it became to where I was able to just have those happy thoughts, wake up and feel energized and in control again. And so when it came to running our business, it was amazing because you have to be able to have that positive outlook and be able to be teachable and not have that fear, overcoming the fear and being able to be in control. So you take it a step further, my subconscious mind, that, okay, I am happy, I'm healthy, and I'm going to accomplish great things. What are those great things? You get to decide. Sit and journal it out and read it. A lot of people use affirmation apps. A lot of people, read the books and write down little suggestions in the books even. But little by little, you're able to grasp that, and your mind and subconscious mind will automatically start thinking that way. And that was the biggest thing that changed my life in these last 10 years. And here I am today. My husband and I own our own company. I have digital marketing on the side. I'm able to homeschool my kids. I'm able to manage my own life in ways that I didn't for a long time. And I'm so grateful that I was able to learn these things and be able to apply them, and had people in my life supporting me and helping me apply these and keep me accountable to going after my dreams, because your subconscious mind is the most powerful tool that you will have. We cannot always change our surroundings, but we can control our minds and our actions. And that is what the subconscious mind has taught me, and controlling that. So to wrap it up, I just want to end with, whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become our reality. That's from Earl Nightingale. With that, go and change your thoughts and change your world.
Thank you so much, Lauren, for that. It really is that simple. As we change our thoughts, it will lead into changing our world. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Now, I have the wonderful privilege to be able to speak to you about this wonderful principle about that Napoleon Hill has set out, this wonderful subconscious mind. Napoleon Hill's subconscious mind, the principle, 11th principle in Think and Grow Rich. One of my favorites, and I'll tell you why. If any of you are anime fans, we're going to get a little nerdy for a second. So, My Hero Academia, you got the main characters. I'm going to throw out some names. You don't have to remember them, but you got the main character, Deku. Then you got some sub-characters. You got Bakugo and Todoroki. I hope I did not say that wrong, or else I'm going to get blamed with all the anime lovers. But these three individuals, they are trying to be the best hero that they can be. They're trying to be the number one hero in the city that they live in. What they do is they go have an internship with the number one hero, and his name is Endeavor at the time. So they go and have this internship, and as they're trying to be the best that they can be, Endeavor is just beating them to places. He's capturing the villains way before these other three get there. And these three individuals, they are training and they're trying to catch up to him, but they just can't. And they had this moment where they're standing on top of a building, and Endeavor looks back and says to the two sub-characters, he says, "You two have had your quirks for a while. You two have had them basically since you were born. You guys need to fine-tune what you are doing." Then he turns to the main character, Deku, and says, "You're different because you have not had your superpower this entire time, and you are still learning how to use it. So what you need to do is you need to use it enough and use it as many times as you can to then make it second nature. And once you make it second nature, then you can start turning it into the different high-level strategies, the things that make people stand out, their signature moves, you could say." That's what we need to do when it comes to us. Subconscious mind is such a powerful tool. And as we're able to use it, and as we're able to transform things into a second nature, then we can go forward and learn higher mastery and expert skills. An example of this is, as I'm going on my speaker journey, I've been speaking for several years, I think over a decade now, from when I first spoke when I was 12. over a decade now of speaking, and I'm still mastering the fundamentals. And this interesting thought came to my mind is that people in school, when they do presentations, they say, I don't want to master I don't want to memorize the words that I do, because if I memorize them, it makes me sound like a robot. And I said, you are right. Do not stop at memorization, because a lot of people will memorize their presentation, memorize the speech that they're going to give. And when they memorize it, they get to that point of when they have it down and then drop it off. And that's where they stop. They give their presentation, and that's where you sound like a robot. However, what I've found is that you need to push past memorization into second nature, which is you continue to practice that memorized speech. And as it becomes a part of you, as you're able to use it and able to tap into it at whatever notice it is, then you are able to invoke emotion. You're then able to use the higher level skills. And when it comes to the subconscious mind, that's the power of it. We go past the level of skill into it becoming a part of us. And when we use that tool for it to become a part of us, then we get into the levels of expert. Then we get into those levels of mastery. So when it comes to unlocking that, how do we unlock it? How do we unlock that power of the subconscious mind? I found 3 different things that can help you and that have helped me to be able to unlock that power. And this goes back into having a pet in your home. If any of you have had pets in your home, and it's even relatable to those wonderful parents who have kids in their home, because as someone who has had both during his lifetime, these principles fit in both ways. If you've had kids, if you've had pets, 3 things are needed. There's a lot more needed, I'll tell you, but 3 things are definitely needed. 1, you got to feed it. Whether it's a pet or a kid, you got to give it food or else it's going to become hangry. Second one, you have to engage with the pet. With a pet, you got to take it out for walks. You got to play with it. For a kid, you got to be able to nurture them. You need to be able to play with them, have them enjoy and learn lessons themselves. You need to engage with your subconscious mind. And then third is you need to continually repeat for the lasting impact. If you continue to repeat, that's how you train animals. If you continue to repeat, that's how you nail down the values, the life lessons that you have with your kids. So when it comes to unlocking that power of the subconscious mind, not just for parents, not just for animal lovers, but for your business, for the skills that you are learning, and for communicating in your personal life, all those wrap around to, in order to unlock it, you hit those 3. So the first one, feed it. Feed it positive inputs. I have found that what you input multiplies what you output. If you input negativity, if you input toxicity, if you input things that are not good, that do not serve you, it just makes sense that the output is going to be multiple times of that worse. But if you input success stories and positive affirmations and leading and learning thoughts, then you're going to output success. You're going to output positivity, because that's just how the universe works. That's just how it is. Whatever you put out into the universe, that's what's going to come back. Whatever you input and put out, that's what the output's going to bring back to you. So when we're talking about feeding it, it's that subconscious mind. Our mind is recording every single day. For all the individuals here who know what a tape recorder is, when you hit record, it records everything for as long as the track has, right? So while it is recording, just like our minds, if our mind is a tape recorder, it is taking in everything, what we hear, what we taste, what we smell, what we see, what we feel, what we're thinking. All of that is being processed in our mind of tape recorder. So if it is recording that, and everything that we are today is based off of the experience, the thoughts and the emotions that we felt in the past, that means that everything we're taking in today and into the future is going to create what we're going to output at a future date. So if we are putting in that positivity and affirmations and success, and we're reading things that are uplifting us, helping us learn new skills, then the output in the future is going to be good for us. But the vice versa is also true. That if we input negativity, if we input excuses and reasons, then we're going to continue that into the future. And I don't know about you, I don't want to be my same self 5 or 10 years in the future. Not because I'm not doing good now, but I know how great and outstanding I can be. So as we continue to learn and put in that information and feed our subconscious mind, then we're able to guide that subconscious mind towards success-oriented actions and success-oriented results. Second one, engage with the subconscious mind, and specifically engage emotion with your desires. Those desires that we have. When we are able to take the emotion part of it and add it into it, it seems to stay stronger. I've been on this health journey, started at the beginning of this year, weighed 295. And as I continued to hit milestone after milestone, I celebrated. Once I broke that decade of 290 and went into the 280 range, I was excited. We had a party. No, it was not an ice cream party because that's not going to help you lose weight, but it was a party of celebration. Then I broke the 280 decade. And just last month, I broke the 270 decade. So now where I'm in the 260 range, which to tell you the truth, I haven't weighed since the beginning of our marriage, which was 7 years ago. And so each of these milestones, I am engaging with it emotionally. These desires that I have, I'm telling myself I get to be rewarded in this way, not to go against my goal, right? I'm not going to have cake, ice cream, or candy, but reward myself in a way that emotionally charges and helps it stick in my subconscious mind, being that this is the new way we're doing things. What I found is that a lot of the times with our minds, we get these what we call habits. If you think of a drip of water dropping onto our brain has created streams that the information of water dropping flows through. And our brain likes to remain comfortable. So the longer that it drips on it, the deeper the crevice that the water is going to flow down, and the harder it is to break that path. It's just going to keep flowing down until we consciously start changing stuff, and then doing it so much that it becomes subconscious with us, when it's creating new paths. And that initial break is hard, just like trying to get like a massive boulder to start rolling. The initial push is the hardest. But once you get that done, it's easy to keep that momentum. Just like in my health journey, it was hard to start losing weight. But now once I have, it's easier to remain consistent with it because I've done it so many times. And in the future, I'm going to be able to say that even stronger because I will have a bigger backstory. So when it comes to being able to engage in something, that consistency, that being able to visualize achieving that goal, adding that emotion, feeling pride for reaching a milestone, that's going to help it so that that emotion is going to be able to stick to your thoughts, and then making those goals feel realistic and achievable. The last thing is the repeat side. Repeat for lasting impact. Throughout this whole thing, there's examples of repetition, from me and my health journey, to our minds being a tape recorder, to the dripping waters of going down the brain, of being the subconscious habits that we have. Like, the more we repeat, the more it's going to happen. And if we want to break something, then we need to break that line of repetition. Not many people ask this, but if you look at my hand, for those who are watching on video, I have this white bracelet. This white bracelet I have worn since December of 2019. Now, there is a disclaimer. A couple months ago, my wonderful littlest girl got a hold of the other one and broke it. And so I had my wife order another one because of what this stands for. Back in 2019, I was going through an addiction. And on the bracelet, it said, "One day at a time." And ever since then, I've worn this to remember me that every single day, that no matter what I'm going towards, that it's always about one day at a time. No matter the results you want, however big, whatever your big, high, hairy, audacious goal is, whatever that dream or vision that you're aiming towards, it all comes down to a single thing, one day at a time. And that one day at a time builds and builds and builds and builds to where now we're hitting almost the month of December, and this has been a symbol that's been on me for almost 5 years. That's crazy to think about. That's crazy to think that Willie back in December of 2019 was like, "Oh, I'm going to put this on, and it's going to be a good reminder." To be able to then sit here today and be like, "Wow, 5 years later, one day at a time, look at the change that has occurred in me." And I tell you that as well. Look at you. I want you to visualize yourself 5 years ago. Where were you at? Who was involved in your family? What goals were you going towards? What were you working on? What were those projects? How was your financials? How was your health? How was the relationship with your friends? All these questions, as we reflect on it, we realize that we truly have come a long way. And it was through us constantly choosing a day at a time, that repetition, that daily choices every single day that has led us to where we are now. Now, of course, everyone who's listening to this is a champion and someone who wants to excel in what they're doing and get accelerated results. If you're someone who wants that, obviously we are not just satisfied with what we have, but we are grateful for what we have. And then we can make the conscious effort today as we want to repeat for lasting success as we go forward and as we want to achieve that goal and that dream that we have. So as I wrap this up for you guys, I want you to think about what's happened in the last 5 years. I want you to sit and feel grateful for those things that have occurred. And then I want you to think about something you can do today to start moving forward with what you want to achieve, because it truly is about today. And with your subconscious mind, as you feed it, as you engage with it, and then as you repeat those things every single day, I promise you it is going to happen. Whatever it is that you want, it is going to happen as you continue to put the results in every single day to then work towards getting there. You are and are capable of hitting those milestones. It is now time for you to walk that path. And you can do it as you unlock the power of the subconscious mind and start taking action on what you're working towards. I'm grateful for each of you champions for letting me be able to share my thoughts on the subconscious mind. And last, we're going to introduce our last speaker, the founder of Champion Circle, Mr. Jon Kovach, who is going to finalize this wonderful principle of the subconscious mind. Jon, the floor is yours.
Let me take you back to one of the toughest lessons I've ever learned. It was 2008 during the regional championships for the 800-meter dash in Colorado. I was one of the top ranked runners with dreams of claiming a state championship. But that day, impatience became my greatest adversary. Instead of pacing myself, I made a drastic decision, sprinting far too early to the finish line. My body literally hit a wall. My legs buckled and I stumbled across the finish line. But too late. My competitors had passed me, and I lost my chance at a state championship. In that crushing moment, I realized something, that my subconscious had been trained to accept shortcuts. Oh, that hurts. It had absorbed impatience, lack of preparation, and the wrong kind of fuel. And the results, they showed. But this wasn't just about running. It was a reflection of my life and my approach to success. So that's when I made a commitment to rewire my subconscious. And today I want to share with you how I learned to do that, but why every drop counts and how you can harness the incredible power of your subconscious mind to achieve your dreams. So here are 3 daily practices to building the subconscious mind of a champion. First, fuel your subconscious mind with purposeful input. Fuel your subconscious mind with purposeful input. Imagine feeding a champion racehorse with the best nutrients, but neglecting your own nutrition and diet. It doesn't really make sense, right? If you want to be successful, why would you give the horse better nutrients but yourself nothing? Instead of the best proteins, you're giving yourself Fruit Loops and sugar. Success starts with what we feed our subconscious. Positivity, intentional thoughts, and belief are like high performance fuels for your mind. Anything less is like pouring regular gasoline into a high power performance diesel engine. It's just going to stall your progress. You know what Napoleon Hill reminds us, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So, what are you fueling your mind with today? The second daily practice is to develop patience and persistence because they are non negotiable. So, develop patience and persistence because they are non negotiable. One of the biggest reasons people fail to achieve their goals is impatience. Success isn't instant. It's the result of consistent, deliberate action. The subconscious needs time to absorb and act on positive beliefs. Remember Napoleon Hill's analogy of stopping 3 feet from gold in Think and Grow Rich. So don't let patience rob you of your own breakthroughs. Failure in that race earlier taught me that persistence is key. If you can commit to one day of discipline, then you can commit to another and another until success becomes second nature. The third daily practice is the ripple effect of every drop counts mindset. So you're going to develop the ripple effect of the every drop counts mindset. Success isn't just about when you align your subconscious with positivity and persistence. You become a beacon of light and example of positivity, and I'm capable of doing this mentality for others. After my loss in that race, I turned my focus outward. I served a mission in the Philippines, and I hosted my own podcast, The Circle of Knowledge. And I also built businesses to serve major needs in this world, turning my loss and the power fueled within me for good in this world. So, through these experiences, I learned that when you succeed, you inspire others to reach their own potential. When I was in the Philippines, is when I learned this every drop counts example. And I pulled up to a gas station and I noticed that the Shell gas station branding said every drop counts. And just those 3 words, that line right there, changed my life. When I get to the pump to fuel my car every single time, I literally will take the hole, the nozzle, and I'll shake it so that I get every drop into the tank of gas because every drop counts. And that changed my mindset on everything. So every drop of effort you put into your subconscious not only propels you forward, but creates ripples that lift others for generations. So don't delay on your dreams. So write this down. Every drop counts. And then I want you to fill in the blank of what that means to you. So write it down. Every drop counts. And fill in the blank of what that means to you in your life. Today, I actually challenge you to take inventory of your life. What are you feeding your mind? Are your daily habits and thoughts building the life you dream of? If not, it's probably time to pivot. Remember that every drop counts, whether it's choosing one better meal, one more positive thought, or one more day of persistence. Every small effort builds a stronger foundation for your subconscious. So I encourage you to reflect silently or write down one small intentional habit that you'll implement today to feed your subconscious and use any one of these 3 daily practices to help you. What's your one drop going to be today? Write that down. Success isn't about grand gestures or it's about anything else other than consistency. It really is. If you can do something great for one day, you can do it for a week. And if you can do it for a week, you can do it for a lifetime. The same applies to your subconscious. Every positive belief, every disciplined action, and every ounce of patience brings you closer to your goals, one drop at a time. So it's time to start today, champion. Pour the right fuel into your mind and trust the process. Because when every drop counts, your success becomes inevitable. Not just you, and not just for you, but for the lives you'll inspire along the way. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jon. That was a powerful story. And thank you for your speech, as well as the other speakers who were able to share their thoughts today. And more importantly, thank you for you champions for sticking around and listening to this wonderful principle. We talk about Napoleon Hill a lot. We talk about Think and Grow Rich a lot. So appreciate you sticking around and putting time in yourself to be able to get what you want, being able to work on the subconscious mind. If you found inspiration with this, take the challenges that were offered by your speakers. Go out and get what you want. And remember that as you use and unlock the power of the subconscious mind, that you will be able to thrive and excel in the things that you do. Grateful for you. Again, grateful for the speakers, and glad that we have this opportunity to do this wonderful training. Champions, we'll see you on the next one.